All right, hello there. This is my first video podcast of the Kung Fu Cowboy since I moved up here to Lancaster. Other than shooting out in the desert, I've been shooting some music videos out in the desert. But yeah, I'm in my home office here in Lancaster right now, and it's May Day. This is the May Day podcast. Hello, all you working slaves out there. So, yeah, I'm an artist. Should have never worked, but I've been in the Teamsters Union, the Laborers Union, Musicians Union, which was kind of nice for a little bit, and Carpenters Union. I said Carpenters, Teamsters. I was actually in the photo newspaper guild also, which was photographers, newspaper guild for photographers. What was it? Chapter 69. I always thought that was cool. My little union card. Newspaper Guild 69. And let's see. And then I said the Carpenters, there the Teamsters, wasn't there another one? But anyway, yeah, I was a member of the AFL-CIO. So I spent definitely a lot of time being a laborer. And so happy May Day. And I really promote laborers' rights. I'm glad to have Biden as president. He actually is going to do something good for all you laborers out there, which of course I would have done too if I would have had the opportunity. Because like I said, I supported the AFL-CIO and labor rights and unions, and I wanted to make commercials. I was when I was in UCLA, I was still active in the Carpenters Union, and a member of the committees. Even though I wasn't working, I was working in the film business, but I kept my union membership, and I was working. Like I said, I was actually a member of the AFL-CIO for another year or so, even though I wasn't working as a carpenter. So I was going to all the monthly meetings of the AFL-CIO. And I was actually on a couple of committees of the AFL-CIO, and one of them was I wanted to be make commercials. I wanted to make pro-union commercials back in the mid-'80s. Of course, we didn't, and unions have totally slid, But I wanted to make pro-union commercials. So if I would have had my way, maybe things would be a little better now too. But anyway, happy May Day, and let's get on with this. This is my first series of podcasts I'm making, in which I'm doing video podcast and recording. Forgot to put my lapel mic. You can probably hear me okay, but it probably will be a little better now. Okay, I got my lapel mic on. So now I'm a little louder, maybe, a little better. Wasn't that far away. So I'm going to keep going instead of starting over again. And yeah, Kung Fu Cowboy here. Glad to get these podcasts going. And a cat named Bear. I just fed him. He was bugging me a little while ago. Clawed at my leg during my last podcast. But hey, Bear, you want to be a part of this? But yeah, I was hoping to capitalize on him a little bit more over the last 5 years when we were living together in my truck, my Tacoma Studios. So, but anyway, he's happy here. I was trying to get him to go outside today. He wouldn't go out. He didn't go out on the balcony. He didn't go out front. I tried kicking him outside. He's happy to be an indoor cat now. He spent his years being outdoors, and I guess me too. I'm happy being indoors. Last year of it's May Day 2021. Last year of being locked up indoors, people have been complaining. It's like, no, I'm happy. I'm happy to be here with all my music equipment and everything out of storage, and yeah, and my weapons, so I can do my kung fu. So yeah, I'm quite happy being locked up indoors with all my stuff. So here we go, Kung Fu Cowboy here. And this series of podcasts here, I'm going to be reading from Supersoul 13, which was actually written back when we were launching the first Kung Fu Cowboy movie, and we had financing. We had, what was it? We had more than 15,000, I think 15 million. We had like 17, 18. I mean, and they were trying to give us more because they were laundering money, which is why we ended up with nothing. It was coming from a Panamanian bank and through Germany to here and to a San Juan Capistrano Bank of America, and then to my Wells Fargo, and Wells Fargo was going, hey, there's something wrong with this money. And sure enough, when I tried to get them to sign paperwork and say, okay, we'll do it this way and this, and they said, no, they wouldn't do it. So they were, anyway, so almost made my movie. Almost, but I mean, a lot of movies are maybe made with laundered money. But anyway, we'll see if we can make it legitimate. Buy my records, buy my books. I'll make my movie. I don't need that much money to make it. I've written my movie. Well, yeah. I'll be the executive producer if I had any money to be an executive producer. Here we go. I'm going to read you the foreword. This is Supersoul 13, and this tells the story of when we were making the movie. And I don't think I'm going to incriminate anybody, but during this time I didn't know that I was making it with laundered money. So we'll see what happens. When I'm making the book, I may make a couple of disclaimers. Or backpedal and say, oh no, I didn't just say that. Let's say it this way. Here we go. I'm reading the foreword. I love this first line. This line echoes in my mind. I was disinherited by my mom. She sold me off to a pedophile farmer back in the actually 1970. And told all my friends I was dead. She was never expecting me to come back. I honestly think they were going to sell me off for I don't want to say. But anyway, yeah. In fact, about 5 years ago, when I was trying to finance this movie and I decided to write my story about my time in Newfoundland, Homeland Security got on my case and they said, hey, maybe it's better you don't write this book and we can't really protect you because, in fact, you're opening up all kinds of issues because I was actually, like I said, I was kind of sold off into sexual slavery, the age of 16 to Canada, which meant that it was an international human trafficking thing. And so the government was like, oh man, this is just a whole can of worms and all these things in the government, and the government knew about me and backed the whole deal, so now the government was behind the whole thing. And so they asked me so anyway, I had to pull all the plugs on it. I was trying to get a GoFundMe page and stuff to fund my movie, but ended up having to pull the plug on the whole thing because everybody was scared that I might actually tell the truth. The truth is going to hurt people. Most of the people involved are dead, fortunately, but there are actually a couple still alive. So they said that, hey, you may be the victim of somebody doing something bad to you, so we can't protect you. In fact, I talked to their attorneys and all kinds of stuff. But anyway, yeah, this is the story of that happened right before that all came down. I was trying to just still make the movie. This is Supersoul 13. I'm going to read the foreword today, and I love this first line. I was born from a demon. I'm having to read from my book. I don't have this printed up. It's only available in ebook right now. I got to get it printed up and available in paperback, and then I can read the paperback. It'll be a little easier. So okay, here we go. Forward. Supersoul 13 by Richard Delegate. Actually, it's written by Buddha Z. I actually put it under the name Buddha Z and developed that name. But here we go. But since it tells a Kung Fu Cowboy story, I thought, well, it would be appropriate for this podcast. I was born from a demon, so I never learned a love for religion or submission to God. Quite the contrary. I was raised Catholic by my father's wishes, but taught to be an atheist by my mother and uncle. Despite this spiritual darkness, unlike my relatives, cousins, or friends, I had a desire for spirituality. My skepticism for religion was still searching for the pathway to God, or at least heaven. Eventually, I would become a Buddha of the original Zen Buddhist sect founded by Bodhidharma at the Shaolin Temple in northern China. As a Chan Buddhist, I learned the submission of discipleship. This disciple foundation had already been created in me by decades of music study and 4 years of carpentry apprenticeship in the United Brotherhood of Carpenters and Joiners. Through my I went through the whole 4-year apprenticeship, night classes and having to qualify and do all kinds of different types of construction work to qualify in all the different categories. The only thing I didn't do was bridge work. I didn't want that. I turned that down. I was able to graduate and become a journeyman without doing bridge work. It's just kind of rare, but I actually had the opportunity, but said, I don't want that. Through my Shaolin Kung Fu discipleship, I learned the codes and duties of a Buddhist disciple during the 1980s. Now I have learned the East Indian Hindu way of discipleship. They refer to it as being a devotee instead of disciple. Although a devotee and disciple are the same concept, they mostly differ in that a devotee will study and practice rituals, while a disciple will study and learn more complicated skills like carpentry or masonry. This was also written at the end of my masonry. I was a mason, a Freemason. Became a 3rd degree Master Mason, actually 4th and 5th. But anyway, became a Master Mason from 2007 to really 2014, and I kind of resigned in I don't know, I wrote a formal letter of resignation, but you're always still a Freemason no matter what once you join. It's a lifelong thing. But I just said I wasn't going to be active and wasn't going to be a member of any particular lodge. Normally you're always assigned to a lodge. Every Freemason is assigned to a lodge. Just like as a carpenter, I was always assigned to a certain union. And if I changed from San Diego, I had to join a union. And there's a whole bunch of carpenter unions, offices, or places where all the carpenters join in different cities, in Los Angeles. So I'd always join one. I joined the one in Santa Monica when I lived in Santa Monica, and then I joined another one in the Valley when I lived in the Valley, and then the one in Santa Monica moved to downtown. I was a member of the one, so I went to. Then I relocated. I was a member of the downtown one, and when I was in San Diego, I was anyway. Yeah, so I've been a member of different lodges in carpentry also. Let's see. My Shaolin Chi Mantis traditional Buddhist Kung Fu school identifies different types of disciples. The Buddhist candidate becomes an initiate, then beginner, then intermediate, then advanced, then disciple, then master father or shifu. Not counting the initiate who hasn't been accepted yet, this is 5 types of discipleship. For the sake of simplicity and the lack of knowledge in America, we call East Indian religions Hindu for now. Sorry if that is an oversimplification, but I'll provide a lot more information on that later in this book. The book that completed and inspired my final submission to God is Bhagavad Gita, as it is, by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. I highly recommend it, but Americans are going to have trouble with the statements of submitting to Krishna. Otherwise, Christians will love this book. Since Christians have a disdain for the Hare Krishna religion, I plan to provide some theological information without the concept of Krishna being a Christ-like incarnation of God 4,000 years ago in India. So climb aboard Arjuna's chariot and prepare for spiritual battle. The entire book, Bhagavad Gita, is a discussion between Arjuna, the righteous prince about to wage war and reclaim his kingdom from his cousins who had wrongfully absconded it. Krishna is Arjuna's charioteer, and as they prepare to crash their 2 armies together with elephants and spears, Arjuna loses his nerve. He doesn't want to wage war against his relatives, some of whom he cares for and respects. Krishna is a noble prince, similar to Buddha, who is considered to be an incarnation of Krishna 1,500 years before Christ. I, Buddha Jen, am a disciple of the original Buddha, Siddhartha Gautama, and his 28th patriarch, Bodhidharma. I discovered during the writing of this book that much of Buddhism is derived from these Vedic scriptures. The Vedic scriptures are dozens of ancient books passed down from God 4,000 or more years ago. These are probably the most ancient words of God known to man. The Bhagavad Gita isn't a new scripture. It is a beautiful summary of the ancient Vedic scriptures without all the references to the demigods, which Christians would refer to as angels or archangels. Someday I will study these Vedic scriptures, but for now I am excited to share my newest enlightenments from this Bhagavad Gita as it is. Although I studied most or all of the original Dharma of the original Buddha and many other Buddhas who followed after him, Buddha made a large change in the Vedic scriptures by eliminating all the demigods and reducing the references to reincarnation. Buddhism became a religion of psychology without a god. This made it appealing to Americans, atheists, and disenfranchised or ostracized Christians. Buddhism is flexible. You can add any gods you want to it, or use it as a social psychology without any gods. It is important to remember that just as Buddha was preaching to Hindus who already had a god or various demigods to worship, Krishna, in the Bhagavad Gita, is also preaching to a Hindu who is well studied in the Vedic literature. So without the additional references and commentaries, us Americans won't fully understand or appreciate the Bhagavad Gita. Thank you, Swami Prabhupada, for your information also. Yeah, he illuminates and makes extra additions to explain a lot of the Bhagavad Gita. It makes it a really readable book. The Bhagavad Gita as it is, that version is what I'm referring to. I like it a lot. So I won't claim to be an expert since I have not yet read the other Vedic scriptures. Bhagavad Gita is a summarization of the current religion of 4,000 years ago. Hopefully, these excerpts and comments by myself will be as beneficial to you as reading the book was to me. And then I've got an extra note. Sometimes I put them in italics and inset them. It says, so in other words, there's two versions. I write the book and then I go back and edit it, and then I kind of added my own comments to my own book. As I edit this book you are reading, I have completed 3 readings of the Bhagavad Gita. I'm not sure whether it is unfortunate I did not study it years ago, or beneficial that I found it at a point in my life that I was able to study it on a daily basis, when my life was disconnected from the internet. I was alone every day, and being homeless and near starvation, more receptive to improving my life and its most basic foundations. My Buddhism website is www.shaolinzen.org. I'm going to make a pause here because we've got a siren going off. Still waiting for that siren to go away. All right. Continuing on here. Oh, thought it was gone. I got to soundproof this room a little bit more. I've got a window over here that's closed, but I'm going to put plywood over it. Also for security reasons. I found out that, well, my car got broken into, and I found out that a couple of my neighbors have had their apartments broken into and cars broken into. So there's some thieves around here. And it's not even a matter of losing the material things. It's a matter of losing something that has all my creativity in it. That would be a major setback. All right, here we go. Continuing on. My Buddhism website is www.shaolinzen.org. Eventually, this will be an interactive cyber temple, per my uncompleted designs from back in 1999. I've decided not to add these spiritual insights to that website. I'll keep it as a source of Zen Buddhism without adding the Supreme Being concepts here. My other Buddhism website is AmericanZen.org. This is the website of America's first Buddhist rock band, American Zen. As the Kung Fu Cowboy, I used to be called the Coyote, Hippie Coyote. And then in 2015, after I'd finished all the Kung Fu Cowboy, American Zen albums, I started calling myself Kung Fu Cowboy. Well, I'd already been Kung Fu Cowboy since like 1984. But when people weren't inclined to call me Coyote anymore, but they liked calling me Kung Fu Cowboy, I just went along with the flow. So I'm Kung Fu Cowboy now. I got a few people who call me Coyote, but that's because they knew me 15 years ago. My Buddhism I already read that. My other Buddhism website is AmericanZen.org. Okay, America's first Buddhist rock band. Yeah. Okay. My goal for AmericanZen.org has been to detail the Buddhist journey of American Zen to provide enlightenment and inspiring entertainment for teens, adults, and baby boomers. However, this website will also not contain the references to devotional service and the Supreme Being. I'll stick to stories of the band, mostly about me, and allow the music to tell stories of enlightenment and human interactions. So BuddhaGen.com, Z-H-E-N, BuddhaGen.com, will be the website for the Vedic scriptures. That's me as Kung Fu master. I'm kind of a mixture of lots of different religions, Taoism, Confucianism, Buddhism, and now some Vedic scriptures too. Hindu religion. Buddha means enlightened one. Since these Vedic scriptures are my newest enlightenments, I will add them here at BuddhaGen.com. The accompanying Facebook page is facebook.com/Spirit of Truth. So that's my, Jen Shenlong is my Chinese name. That translates as Spirit Wolf of Truth. As I add web pages of Vedic enlightenment, I will post updates at Buddha Gen's Facebook page, facebook.com/Spirit Wolf of Truth. Got to put the of in there, I think, too. My main Facebook profile is facebook.com/Richard.Del-Connor. The dot should have been after the Del, but somehow, anyway, but that's what it is. Facebook.com/Richard.Del, D-E-L, 1L, Connor, C-O-N-N-O-R. Perhaps I'll mention something here also, but probably less often. So click the like button on the Buddha Gen Facebook page to get your fresh 4,000-year-old Vedic updates as I post them. Bhagavad Gita is also known as Gito or Gaito. I'm saying Gito, G-I-T-O. Gaitopanishad. Gitopanishad. It is one of the Upanishads of Vedic texts. So there's a whole bunch of Vedic scriptures, and they're divided into different categories and stuff. So I apologize for not, I've read them and seen them, but I'm the last one to be able to explain them. Krishna is referred to as divine Son of God, just like Christ would be 2,000 years later. For the sake of my American Christian audience, we will avoid this concept as much as possible. However, the manner in which Krishna describes his being a representative of God enabled me to view Christ in a more godly manner. So other Christians will hopefully also find ways to strengthen their faith by studying the Bhagavad Gita. If they read the entire book with appropriate comments, as in the version I read, supplied to me free from the Hare Krishna temple in Culver City. So yeah, that's right. I've got 2 copies of it now, actually. One I carried in my car for the whole time I was home, from like 2013 to 2019, 6 years. That thing's warm, but yeah, it was always on my front seat there. Great book, really good book, very inspiring for me. This version of the Bhagavad Gita refers to Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This may be accurate, but it's a lot for Americans to grasp. In India, a holy man is a Brahmin. Arguably, every human being is a Brahmin. But not every human being is searching for God, and sometimes they aren't even searching for spiritual enlightenment. Worse yet, many Americans are not even searching for wisdom or knowledge. 90% of the world would use the excuse, I don't have time. Buddha is the word for knowledge in India. or Buddhi, Buddhi, with an I. Buddhi is the word for knowledge in India. So Buddhism is the study of knowledge. If it doesn't work for you, throw it in the trash, Buddha said to a local king in India. The Bhagavad Gita also removes the rituals and Hindu forms of worship to create a simplified religion. Actually, the Bhagavad Gita was intended for persons already knowledgeable in Vedic religious concepts. But it does simplify them and criticize them. To be a Buddhist, you need a Buddhist master to share, explain, and help you to apply Buddhism to your life. My Buddhist master was mostly Shakyamuni Buddha through his teachings. Most of the Dharma I read in books. In the last decade, I purchased audiobooks to provide me with more time to listen and study Buddhism. My sect of Shaolin Zen Buddhism is one of the most difficult religions in the world because it requires the mastery of Shaolin Kung Fu while mastering the Buddhist teachings. To be a Hindu, you need a master. So far, mine is the book Bhagavad Gita as it is, with comments by Swami Prabhupada. So Swami is my master. He was certainly my guide, as he taught me through this book, while I learned what I could, without intending to join his Krishna consciousness religion. Thank you, Swami. And there you go. That's the foreword to the book. And then we're going to get into the meat of the matter real soon here. So yes, this Bhagavad Gita was very inspiring to me as the Kung Fu Cowboy. And already being a Zen Buddhist master and teaching Buddhism and Taoism and Confucianism and Oriental strategy of Sun Tzu, adding this to it was just wonderful. It fit in just beautifully. And you'll see as I read this book, and you'll see how it inspired me. And actually, during the time I was studying it and really embodied it, it really improved my life, and it caused all kinds of neat things to happen. And it transformed me into a really compassionate person. Not saying I'm not still, but during that time and that period, a lot of people really pointed it out to me. So it's a good book. It makes you a better person. It surely did for me. Okay, so let's leave it at that. What was I going to give you? So get the book, Supersoul 13. I'd like to hold up a paperback. Supersoul 13 by Buddha Z. It's got a big sunrise going on in it. Go to Amazon.com and get the ebook. And I'll have the paperback soon. And an audiobook. I've actually recorded the audiobook, so I'll have the audiobook. I really recommend that. I'll read this whole book and do it. Hey, look who's here. You're supposed to be here, bud. It's Kung Fu Cowboy and a cat named Bear. Here he is, there's his tail. Well, let's see if I can lower the camera a little bit. Can we get you in the shot here better, buddy? Well, we got your butt. But you want to turn around? Bear, come here. Turn around. Bear, bear, bear. Come here, come here. There. Get a little bear head in the shot here for a second. Oh, there's the bear. Bear, bear, bear. Look at the camera. Hi, bud. Get you to look up here. A little naturally, instead of me holding your chin up. Yeah. You. All right, yeah, there's the bear. So yeah, he made an appearance for the Kung Fu Cowboy and the Cat Named Bear show. Glad to see you here, little bud. Where were we? What else do I have to tell you about? I did the book ad for Supersoul. For the websites, kungfucowboy.com hasn't been updated since I wrote this book, 2015. I did it in HTML. I've been working in WordPress sites since then. So the website that now represents this, my new Kung Fu Cowboy album, which I'm making right now, it's actually going to call Scorpion Resurrection. And it's kind of the American Zen album. I'm taking it up a notch because that was recorded in my car. And so I'm recording this book, the Scorpion Resurrection is going to be my debut album as Kung Fu Cowboy. And I got a brand new website, a WordPress website, so it looks modern. So go to scorpionresurrection.com and you can see my new record. And I'm halfway done with the album now. I'm putting trombones on it. I've created what I call the... He's going to chew up my microphone cord. I've created this... Can I raise you up a little bit? It's on my lap here. I've created what I call the Scorpion Orchestra, which is I've got these 4 trombone programs. So it's basically the American Zen band and plus the trombones. And I got a piano, as you can see here now, this last year. Actually, thanks to my mom. My mom, who disinherited me, and I got to give her credit now. She actually sent me some money. She told me when I was homeless, she wasn't going to help me not be homeless, and didn't give me anything for 6 years. And then after I got this place, then then her husband died, who was my evil stepfather. He never liked me at all. He was always really mean to me. And anyway, he died, and so I don't know if it's guilt or maybe because she's giving all the other relatives some money, and they said, well, what'd you get rich? And so I don't know. But anyway, she sent me some money. So thanks, Mom. I'm not going to hold it against you, even if you've been mean to me my whole life. Especially, hey, you bought my love. But anyway, I got the piano and the computer with some money she sent me. So appreciate that. And all the things I could have done over the last 40 years, I would have got a little support from my parents, But no support from my parents whatsoever. Okay, in fact, I don't even think she was happy. I tried to give her credit and tell her I did that, and she never sounded like she was excited that I was using it, to buy anything, to make money or art with. She didn't seem that interested. I can raise you up a little bit. Hey there, bear. Get you in the camera a little bit. Hi, bud. So, yeah. Anyway, glad you showed up for a little bit of the podcast here, little buddy. And we will see you soon. What did I have? Did I have a song planned for you at the end here? I don't know. Maybe I'll... I was actually wanted to be performing... I'm going to pull my microphone up. I actually was going to perform flute on these, but I don't feel like it's late. It's almost, it's after 10 o'clock, so I shouldn't be playing any musical instruments. I'm in an apartment. There's a room over there. So I'm not going to play any flute, but I was planning on playing you the flute to Montrose Cuckold. And there's actually one place on the internet. It's not on my ShaolinRecords.com or websites or anything like that, this last album. But there is one place that I put it. And just because I was afraid I was going to get killed, that I was going to get offed. And so I thought, I need to put it somewhere so somebody might be able to find it. So if you do a search, you might be able to find the rough tracks from Montrose Cuckold. But I was going to play along the flute. That album's not finished. It was going to be the part 2 of American Zen's Kung Fu Cowboy album. I recorded 36 songs. The first 18 are the part 1, and I released that album. You can go on the internet and buy that at Amazon and all over the place, and ShaolinRecords.com. But the part 2 hasn't been released. And so I don't know, maybe I'll release it as a Kung Fu Cowboy album now. It's not much interesting American Zen, sadly. I'm going to market those guys. Now I feel like I'm more the record company. Shaolin, Richard Del Conner, the record producer and company owner. So maybe now I can actually release that. Oops, see you later, bud. And so anyway, but Montrose Cuckold, I was going to jam along to that if I was still in my car, because I designed these podcasts when I was in my car, and I was going to play the thing on my... They broke into my car. They stole my JBL little soul box thing that I was going to hook up my... actually, I had Bluetooth. I'd turn on my phone and Bluetooth, and I could play that, and play the music, and then play along to it. And that's what I was going to do, but it's gone. And like I said, I'm not in an environment where I should play it right now. So I'm not going to play a Montrose Cuckold. Maybe I'll put the music on there, but maybe I'll actually put the rough track that I'm recording now with the trombones. But they're all unbalanced, and there's no mixing or EQ or compression or reverb or anything. They're all really rough tracks, but I'm really excited about them. I'm real proud of them. So maybe for the podcast, I could put them on there. I don't know. We'll see. So I'll edit these. I was hoping to get them all out today. I'm doing I did 8. There's eight of these podcasts. 8 of them. The first one was the Buddha Z. I was doing the Four Noble Truths and teaching those, and then I was doing the Zen Buddhist podcast, Buddha Jen, the Kung Fu Master, teaching, giving my philosophies, and then Richard Del Conner, the philosopher poet. Remember, I wear a suit and vest, and I perform. I was doing all kinds of poetry readings for a few years. And then Kung Fu Cowboy and a Cat Named Bear. That's this one. I still got 4 more to go. And the fifth one is the Coyote Radio TV show. And I got a website, coyoteradio.tv. And I still can't figure out how to do it. I got all these ideas in my brain about all these commercials and music videos and things that I want to put there, but I don't know how to present them and put them. So I'm just kind of sticking them in different places there. So if you hunt around, you'll find all kinds of neat stuff, and I'll keep adding stuff to it. Go to the blog. That was one place I was thinking, well, maybe on the blog I could just kind of release things. And if you travel through the blog, I'll have links and music to things that aren't released you can go check out. And then Shaolin Chimanis School, which is here. This is my Kwun. The other room is total Kung Fu school, my whole living room. And so that's my school. And so I wanted to do something to promote that. But when I was homeless, I was still teaching classes. So I was promoting my school even then. And then 7 is the Shaolin Records podcast, in which I wanted to talk about being a record producer in the early days, in the 70s and the 80s. And, you know, what it's like to be a record producer. Me as Richard Del Conner, just a music producer, which I love to do. One of my identities. And then lastly, the Coyote. Like right now, I'm Kung Fu Cowboy. Coyote's like my younger version, me as a teenager. And so he gets a podcast in which he gets to promote American Zen. See, I'm not supposed to be promoting American Zen. I'm Kung Fu Cowboy. I want to do my stuff, my books, and my movies, my Kung Fu Cowboy movies. But Hippie Coyote was supposed to still do podcasts and promote American Zen. So I'm looking, you know. So yeah, go buy my American Zen albums. See you later. Kung Fu Cowboy out of here.